talkie. It's gonna get rocky. We're gonna move down to the next jockey. Now talk.
Hey, how come you turned that off?
3, 2, 1, go!
Friday Night Funkin', Guitar Hero, Thumper, Friday Night Fuckin'. What do all these games have in common? They're all rhythm games, sure, yeah, but the real answer lies in their DNA. It's canine. Aw, John W. Bubbles, those are some cute tap shoes you got there, bud. Why don't you go hang those up? There's a new father of rhythm in town, and his name is PaRappa the Rapper.
You gotta do what? I gotta believe!
Playing PaRappa is the first gaming memory I have. I've heard Chop Chop Master Onion say kick punch more than I've heard my own mother's voice at this point.
Kick punch, it's all in the mind.
I probably would have found my way to the wonderful world of video games regardless, but for the sake of making this journey more personal and melodramatic, I'll say that at the very least without PaRappa, my taste in video games might be drastically different. Without this little paper dog, I might be sitting here rambling about the new Call of Duty. More modern, more warfare, more problems. Luckily that's not the case, and instead I'm here talking with you about PaRappa the Rapper, and how it's a horrible video game and a unique piece of artwork all at the same time. Conceptually, the game was thought up by Masaya Matsuura, who in the late 80s had a fairly successful band, Size. At the beginning of the 90s, he found himself becoming more interested in multimedia projects. Rather than having to appear in music videos, which he hated doing, he could now make whole experiences centered around his music. In 1993, he released The 7 Colors of Size City, a point-and-click PC Engine game with surreal simplistic visuals that kind of make me want to puke. I like the off-colored aesthetics, it makes me think I'm about to be attacked by an enemy stand, but in motion, it's disorienting. However, the way the music plays into the game is incredibly cute, with character dialogue and notes being sung.
You've done your part. Here's your ticket to the yellow heart.
Honestly, this game looks really interesting, but I'm gonna blow chunks into my keyboard if we don't move along. 1994 rolls around and Sony begins hiring whoever they can get their hands on to develop games for the upcoming PlayStation, including Matsuura and PaRappa artist Rodney Greenblatt. Greenblatt had developed a game a few years prior called Dazzloids. It's more of an interactive storybook than a game, with all the stylings of a Saturday morning acid trip.
But I like TV.
It's not really anything like PaRappa, but it has Greenblatt's signature style to it. His artwork is very simplistic. It's flat, not in the same way PaRappa is paper. It's almost as if there's no dimension to it. Everything lines up next to itself. The best way I can describe his style is that of a refined kid's drawing. Simple shapes and designs, super colorful to the point of contrasting. It's unburdened and imaginative. If you don't recognize it in the character designs, you'll definitely notice it in this background loading screen. Even though Dazzloids and the 7 Colors are extremely different, I would say their inspirations and intentions are the same. Games designed to showcase their passion in an interactive way and give the player a new way to experience their art.
People always have kind of a wall between music and life. I'm a musician, so I don't feel any wall between music and me. So I want to erase this kind of wall.
These two men became the mother and father of PaRappa. That's Greenblatt's phrasing, not mine. I probably would have referred to them as the funny uncles of PaRappa, or some other dumb shit like that. December 6th of 1996, PaRappa the Rapper was born to 2 loving parents, quickly selling over 1 million copies in Japan. A couple years later, and thousands of miles away, a little boy with a bowl cut, or a mullet depending on what year it was, sat in his room failing the Chop Chop Master Onion song over and over again, and having the time of his life. Before I rambled on, you may remember that I mentioned this was a rhythm game, one where you push buttons, rhythmically. How do you describe a simple rhythm game without sounding like an ass? Push button, win button, on screen. Do so correctly to earn points. Don't let PaRappa shit his pants. I'd like to see John W. Bubbles tap his way out of this one. You get how it works. I'm sure you could find some older, more obscure title, but for the sake of argument, we're gonna say PaRappa was the first of its kind. Though, being the first doesn't always mean you're the best. PaRappa as a rhythm game is alright. Don't get me wrong, the music is great. Simple and catchy, real earworms. At least 6 wrinkles exist on my brain just to house these treasures. It's just that pesky gameplay gets in the way of making these songs sound as good as they could. You have a teacher that raps a line, then you have to match it. PaRappa only speaks when you press the button, so pressing the wrong button results in him saying the wrong word, or him saying it late, on time, what have you.
You got the funky flow, but now you really got it up.
I think this is better feedback than most rhythm games. Most of them will just make an error noise to let you know that you've missed a beat. Though this means even when you're doing well, PaRappa will sound choppy. It isn't a big deal, and in the end it makes it more enjoyable to replay. But if you're a fan of the PaRappa games, you owe it to yourself to listen to the soundtrack versions. Unfortunately, a lot of the time the game feels off. You'll swear you hit the button at the perfect time, and still drop in a rating. Other times you'll be noticeably off, only for the rating to go up. I played the game for the first time in years to record this footage. My save started me on the last song, and I just randomly pressed buttons and got the cool rating. Once you start rapping cool, the teacher dips, leaving you there to freestyle, which really just means tap more buttons and hope for the best. If your rating goes back down, the teacher will return and the song will continue as usual. You can finish the whole song in a freestyle, though it sounds like PaRappa is having a seizure the whole time.
What the fuck are you doing? Stop breakdancing and help him!
Overall, the gameplay is pretty inconsistent, mostly when it comes to getting a cool rating and freestyling. It's still a mystery as to how it works. A quick Google search yields all kinds of theories, none of which seem to be 100% foolproof. It's pretty crazy how fucked up it can be sometimes, though you'll be too busy enjoying the tunes and vibrant visuals to even care. Not only that, the game is incredibly lenient, so getting through the stages is a breeze, almost making the inconsistency a non-issue. That is until you reach the fourth circle of hell.
Every single day, stress comes in every way. I ain't got no time for nobody. My style is rich, dope, fat, and witch. We'll make a cake today that looks rich.
The levels leading up to this point have been incredibly simplistic, using the same button repeatedly, with the occasional change up here and there. Cheep Cheep Chicken's level is a natural mid-game progression, throwing a little more at the player. That's perfectly fine. It's the way it should be. The problem is, it's fundamentally broken. The game is a 30-ish minute experience, but this cake level seems to make it a 2-hour experience for most people. From what I've read, you need to press the buttons early to get them to work properly. Even knowing this, it still took me an hour and a half to beat it with an abysmal score. I've heard the song so much I could bake that cake from scratch. So the plan here was to bake a fat dope cake. The only problem is...
Being on camera sucks. I don't have a whisk. I didn't buy a new whisk. I didn't prepare for any of this.
In true fashion, I procrastinated and took a figure-it-out-on-the-day approach. But I took a baking class in 8th grade, so I was pretty confident that I could follow Cheep Cheep Chicken's recipe to a T.
That is looking delicious already. I can already taste this.
While the shrimp cooked in the air fryer, I poured all the stirred ingredients into a pan and proceeded to bake it for however long a while is.
Hold the cake in the oven for a while.
Oh, damn. There's so much fucking butter on that. Oh my god.
Now that our perfectly baked cake was out of the oven, I needed a nice shot of the shrimp being applied to it.
Yeah, well, fucking... Hopefully this didn't turn it off.
All I had to do was apply the final touches. I didn't have clams, perches, or a fiddle to put in the middle. I didn't even have a violin to substitute it with. So instead, I substituted it with hot sauce, chocolate sauce, mini cookies, and tried to even it all out with another stick of butter.
Don't you fucking do it. Maybe just another stick of butter to, you know...
Look at that. It looks better than I ever could have hoped. I'd like to see John W. Bubbles bake something better. It looked so delicious, I decided I wasn't going to eat it.
It looks gross. Yeah, it does look
But I didn't want it to go to waste, so my good friend and stunt double, Trey, stepped up to the plate.
Practically twins. You're looking good.
Looking good.
You look just like... Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe because whenever you talk to me on the phone, I was in my underwear at my house, and fucking now I'm all dressed up as you over at your house, and I gotta fucking eat shit. Give me the hat. I'm not happy about this.
Don't puke. Can you swallow that? You don't have to. You're already a big boy. You're already the strongest man I've ever met in my life. It stopped recording.
Wait, for real?
For real. Whoa! I can turn it back.
I want my muffin, boy.
Luckily for him, my shitty camera cut off halfway, and he got to go in for a second bite. Wow, what a lucky guy.
You're gonna himself? Oh, stop recording. I'm gonna fucking eat this whole thing.
Stop recording.
Are for real?
I may have hit the stop button. Oh, so strong.
Oh, fuck. I think you saw me almost puke. Fuck.
Okay, that wasn't so hard, was it?
From an outsider's perspective, it might be hard to see why this game is considered a classic. At times, the gameplay can feel extremely broken, and the cake tastes like dog shit. Probably. I didn't eat it. I can't speak for everyone, but PaRappa has never been a game to me. It's everything around the game that makes it so special. It's a music video, a Saturday morning cartoon. It's about bettering yourself by believing in yourself. It's a simple story about a dog trying to win the heart of his crush, and he just so happens to do this through rapping. It's an infectious experience, not even from a nostalgic point of view. I think most people nowadays could give this a go and find at least one thing they really enjoy about it.
So I will show you how to get cool.
There's this clip I found of Matsura showing a crowd of people how to play the game, and it's kind of heartwarming. The genuine happiness on his face makes me smile just as big as him when I see it. Anything that can elicit this kind of reaction in a person is the ultimate proof to me that it's a work of art, even if it fails at what it was trying to do in the first place. At this point, I can't help but see a father playing with his son.
You still like to enjoy the game?
Yeah.
It's all about the rhythm. You hear what I'm saying? Okay, now it's my turn. Check it out. It's all in the mind. Find the rhythm, get your head bobbing. Okay. Okay, guys, here I go.